Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. They're funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today, we're looking at the worst partners from across Reddit. Am I the a-hole for cancelling our anniversary trip because my husband drowned my terrarium? Posted by Tiny Pen 2289. I, 29 female, travelled across the country to visit a company regarding an incredible job offer. I spent 2 days touring the company to decide if it was the right fit for me after years of being self-employed. After meeting with the company, I went to visit my sister and her family a few towns over. We barely get to see each other because of work and distance, so it was wonderful to spend a few days with her and the family and her new baby. I was gone for a total of 8 days. When I returned, I was excited to spend some time with my husband, 33 male, and tell him about the trip, my visit with my sister, and my impression of the city, etc. As we were meant to be celebrating our anniversary, I decided to put off the discussion about whether or not I should accept the job offer until after our getaway. I had arranged for us to go on a luxury train ride because he's a big train enthusiast. We were meant to leave for the trip 3 days after I got home. This is where the problem started. I have a very large, closed, bioactive terrarium, which I made with my mother 15 years ago. It's one of my favourite things I have of her before she passed. This terrarium is my pride and joy, and has come with me everywhere since we planted it. It was always super healthy and beautiful, and I've only ever had to open it 4 times to do a little maintenance and some watering. My husband knows all of this, which is why I don't understand why he decided to tamper with it in my absence. I didn't notice the night I got home because I was exhausted, but the next morning I went to check on the terrarium to find it was in a terrible state. The roots were rotting, and the plants were dying and molding. He told me that the day I left, he poured a few cups of water into the vessel and sealed it again. I was so mad that I cried, and it turned into a huge argument because it's just a plant and all you do is look at it anyway. He called me ungrateful and overdramatic and said that I should appreciate his intention was to help me and that he didn't ask because he didn't want to bother me on my trip. I cancelled our anniversary plans, partly because I was so upset that I didn't want to go, and partly because I wanted to try and salvage the plants, and that would require time. He hit the roof when I told him and is now sleeping in a separate bedroom and refusing to speak to me because, according to him, I'm being petty and trying to destroy our marriage. Am I being oversensitive about my plants? My friends are pretty evenly split and have pointed out that he was just trying to be thoughtful, however misguided it was. Oh, BS. This was intentional. His reaction says everything. It's just a plant and all you do is look at it anyway. He's jealous of a plant. What the F? He waited until you were gone and then murdered his rival for your attention. Honestly, the fact that he'd do this, especially knowing its significance, something you grew with your mother, and then his reaction, angry that you're trying to save it, I'd be seriously considering divorcing him. My husband uses the same mop water for weeks and refuses to stop. Posted by a throwaway account. My husband only has a few household tasks. One of the ones he took on is mopping the floor. He has a bucket full of water, maybe 3 gallons that he'll use to mop. He puts 2 or 3 cups of pine sol in the bucket, then fills it up. Once he's finished mopping, he'll put the mop back inside the bucket and put the bucket on the porch. He uses the water until I throw it away. The water is often black when I throw it out. He will use the same water to clean up messes. If the dog pees on the floor, he mops it up and then puts the bucket of water back on the porch. This is a major source of contention between us because I think it's incredibly gross. We've gotten into screaming arguments when he's caught me throwing out his mop water. He says the water's fine because pine sol sterilizes it and that he's worked as a janitor before, and he's insulted that I think he doesn't know how to clean a floor. I cleaned a whole school for years and you don't think I know how to clean a regular floor? I have offered to do it myself, but he sees it as an insult to his abilities. Today, I stepped into the kitchen and noticed the entire floor felt grimy and sticky. He was sitting at the table and told me the dog peed, so I thought I'd just do the whole floor. I asked him if he bothered to change out the black water he's been using. He said no. This started a fight, of course. I told him that he made the floors filthy and that I, being 3 months pregnant, didn't want to expose myself to whatever diseases were growing in that water and that I'd be doing all the mopping from now on. He told me he might as well not be in the house because clearly I don't respect any of his choices. He got his keys, got in the car, and drove off. He was gone for hours and he came back and isn't talking to me. I feel like I'm going crazy. Is a pine sol actually sufficient? Am I making something huge out of nothing? How am I supposed to fix this when I feel like I've tried to and it hasn't worked? Too long didn't read. My husband uses dirty mop water for weeks. He won't use different water or throw it out and gets offended when I tell him I'll do it. I don't know what to do. Down in the comments, Lol Wally says, there's been some pretty gross things that husbands and boyfriends do that have been posted here, but this one actually made me effing gag. When I got to the dog piss part, oh, this is so disgusting. Adventurous Ad 6546 says, I'm already looking ahead to about a year from now and imagining a baby crawling all over it. Ugh. Am I wrong for calling off our wedding after my sister-in-law shaved my beard? Posted by Bull Smuggler. Me, 28 male, and my fiancée, 25 female, who we'll call Lexi, are a happy couple of 6 years and engaged for one. Or so I thought. For context, my fiancée's sister, 32 female, we'll call her Sally, has always been hostile towards me and would rarely speak to me, and when she did it'd be because her parents were around. Sally's Lexi's rock, because she got her through a tough time during college, and since then, Lexi has told Sally everything about everything. We've had problems with this in the past, due to her telling Sally personal things about my childhood that I've only told a few people. This led to us not speaking for 3 months during COVID, when she'd only leave our room for food and to go to the toilet. Recently, we hadn't had an argument in a year plus, until 3 nights ago, she mentioned that she'd like me to shave my beard. For context, I have a very thick beard that's been growing for 8 years and I'm very proud of. So, of course I told Lexi that I wouldn't be shaving my beard, to which she stormed off into the kitchen, slammed her wine glass into the sink, smashing it and a plate in the process. I immediately stood up and asked what the F she was doing. She then spun around and screamed that I'm a selfish a-hole because I won't shave my beard, and ran to our bedroom and slammed the door. I ended up sleeping on the couch and woke up around 4 AM to Sally with a razor trying to shave my beard, so I pushed her off me. Lexi then ran to check on Sally whilst I was looking at the big patch that Sally had taken out of my beard. Then I went upstairs and packed a bag, while Lexi shouted at me for hurting Sally. I told her to F off, and that the wedding was off. I walked out of the house and drove an hour to my parents' house, where I've been staying since. Earlier today, I got a text from Sally saying that I was selfish for not shaving my beard, because when I go down on Lexi, it feels weird. I haven't replied to her. My family think I should break off the relationship, but her family said I should just shave it all and move on. What should I do? Am I wrong? Her and her family are psychotic. Why would she even take their opinion into consideration? Edit 1. I've got, as I type, 99 plus texts and calls from Lexi, saying things like, don't leave, let's have sex one more time, and I'm pregnant. I think she's trying to baby trap me. Edit 2. Lexi also messaged me weird things like, miss me, and I'll take the baby too. Then Sally messaged me saying that Lexi's in hospital, being treated after an attempt. I don't believe it at all. I've blocked Sally's number now. Edit 3. I called the police and showed evidence of her attempt message, so hopefully she'll be getting checked into an institution. Edit 4. Lexi's aunt, who's the only person on her side who agrees with me, just called me to tell me that Lexi's been checked into a psychiatric unit for 2 weeks. I'll keep you all updated if anything happens, but I should be okay for now. Edit 5. I've filed a police report on Sally for assault, and I'm in the process of cancelling the wedding venue. Edit 6. I'm back at the house and I've had a locksmith change the locks just in case. The wedding venue can't be refunded, but it was going to be paid by her parents anyway, so I don't care. I've also contacted my lawyers. I, 26 female, am considering moving out / breaking up with my boyfriend, 30 male, because he convinced me to move in with him, and then moved his whole family in as well. Posted by Ms. Pia. I've been dating my boyfriend since 2019 and became serious in 2021. We were living in different states at the time, and he would always ask me to move in with him. I've always refused because I wanted to be married before sharing a home with a man. Fast forward to 2023, he convinced me that we should get married, at least in the court, and we'd move in together in his home state, Maryland. I was living in Georgia at the time, and I was adamant about not moving until we were married. March, he finally got through to me, and I accepted to move in with him. A couple weeks before I moved, he mentioned that some of his family members would be moving in with him for a couple weeks. I wasn't okay with this, but since I'd already broken my lease, I didn't have a choice. Finally, I moved in March, and I was extremely uncomfortable. His family's from abroad, so they've yet to get acclimated, and I completely understand that he's their only support for now. His family consists of his mum, his dad, his brother's wife and kid, his sister and his aunt. I've been living with them since March and I'm miserable. They don't respect boundaries. Although his name and my name are on the lease, they think it's their place. Always walking into my room without knocking, and his mum actually saw me naked because she just barged into my room when I was about to go in the shower. I've discussed this with him so many times. He claims it will eventually change, but I promise you it won't. He makes excuses that they're naturally mean. They're not being mean towards me. When I'm in the kitchen, I'm being watched, although I purchased the groceries. There is so much more, which would take hours for me to explain. I feel like I should not be experiencing all this. I'm so depressed. I spend 90% of my time hiding in my room, so I don't have to see them. As a girlfriend, I shouldn't be in this mess. But now I understand. The main reason I was asked to come was so that I could help pay some of the bills, because he had to rent out a bigger space so everyone could have their own room. Oh, and another thing, I suggested I'd move out, and he said he'd move out with me if I really didn't want to stay. But we'd have to pay double the bills, and he suggested that we move somewhere that's in close walking distance so that his family can have access to the place. How should I approach this? What would you do in this situation? I've never heard the phrase, "they're naturally mean." Is that like when someone says they're brutally honest? No, Sarah, you're just a bee. So this whole situation's a bit sus. He rented out a bigger place to fit everyone. That means he lied to you about them being only there for a few months, and intentionally didn't mention it at all until you broke your lease. He's just using you to fund his family. Run, girl, run! And oh my god, you have to pay double the bills and still be close to his family so they can keep violating your boundaries? Move out without him. You can be free. I'm gonna make a guess that he's actually got no feelings for this girl at all. He's just using her purely for the money and potentially even a green card. I wonder if he's already secretly starting another long-distance relationship with his next meal ticket. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.